How to build a business credit line in 3 days? It's easier than you think, and I'm going to give it to you step by step. And I'm talking about qualifying for lines of business credit up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm telling you, these steps are easy, so I'm confident you can do them yourself, and they don't take a ton of experience to get them done fast. Now, there are some nuances to this, and these are little tricks that need to be linked together. So I ask that you watch until the end of the video so you have a complete picture of what really needs to be done. Now, one of these steps on their own likely won't be effective, so take some time to essentially build a mental outline of what I'm sharing with you today. And when I say build a business credit line, I'm talking about building credit in your business's name without having to give a personal guarantee. I know some people will try and sidestep that fact. Now, you can always get a business credit line if you want to give a personal guarantee, but the whole goal is to not be personally mixed up in your business's debts. 10 years ago, when I started my medical education business, there really wasn't good information out there that was easy to find to getting business credit. In the learning process, I had to sit down with banks and get denied a couple times to figure out what I needed to do to qualify. Banks would essentially tell me, Brian, we don't invest in that type of business without physical assets, or give me some other kind of cookie cutter response. And this was even when I had consistent money coming into the business. Now I get sent offers for lines of credit to my business all the time, so much so I don't pay attention to them anymore. I have more than enough business credit line opportunities that I don't need to be looking for them. So there are some real tricks to this that I'm going to share with you today. Now, as a heads up, getting a business line of credit in 3 days does assume that you already have your business registered with the state and the IRS. If you haven't done that yet, it's not a problem. I'm going to start from the beginning for you guys and show you the fastest way of getting this all done. And if you already have an established business, I still recommend listening to this next part because it may help clarify a few things for you later on in the video. Now, this whole process of building a business credit comes down to separating your personal credit from your business credit. You're probably already a little familiar with how personal credit works. There are 3 major credit bureaus that build personal credit reports, these being TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And much of your personal score is built off of what's called trade lines, or essentially lender account history on the report. The more creditors are willing to lend you money, the lower the borrowed balances that you keep, and the better your payment history, and your score will reflect that. Well, business credit, while it has some similarities, is actually quite a bit different. Business credit actually has its own 3 different credit bureaus, with those being Experian Business, Equifax Business, and Dun & Bradstreet. Dun & Bradstreet is by far the largest and most used business credit bureau, so I generally focus my attention and building my business credit with them initially. Now, there are also differences in how they will build a score for your business credit compared to personal credit. While much of your business credit will depend on trade line payment history, there is not as much importance given to carrying large credit balances in your business. And one of the best parts about business credit is lenders are usually willing to offer your company much larger lines of credit based upon reported income. So I briefly mentioned Dun & Bradstreet here, but keep them in your mind because I'll be touching on them again when I hit the steps on how to quickly build a business credit line. So let's start from the ground floor for those that are still working towards getting their business off the ground. If you're a new business, you're going to need to register with your state, and you can usually do this online at your state's website. Most states have simplified this process, so generally you can get this done within 15 to 30 minutes, with there being a small government fee. Now, this is a critical step, something that really can't be avoided if you want to later get business credit. Registering your business will give your company its own identity within your state, and you'll be well on your way to separating your personal finances from those of your business. Now, for most new businesses, and this is just my opinion, I generally recommend that you consider registering as a limited liability company, also known as an LLC. This can sometimes provide some legal protections to your personal assets and also offer some tax advantages without a whole lot of extra tax filing work. Depending on your industry and revenue though, sometimes it makes more sense to register as an S Corp or a C Corp. Now, once you've registered your company within your state, You then need to apply for an employer identification number, also known as an EIN, with the IRS. This one can also be done online at irs.gov, and this one is fortunately free. As a quick explanation, the EIN is a number that essentially acts as a social security number for your business. It gives your company its own identity on a national level, and this is really needed for building business credit separate from your personal credit. Now, full disclosure, these two steps can be a little faster or slower depending on the state you decide to register your business. And really, building a business credit line within 3 days starts from this point. I think we'd all be kidding ourselves if we thought the federal government would let us get anything done that fast. Okay, so let's say you have your company registered and you have your EIN. Well, this next step is easy, and that's building a business checking account with the bank. As soon as you have that EIN, you can go ahead and get that business checking account open under your business's name. This can be done very quickly online or at a local bank. Just be aware that it usually takes a small deposit to get one opened. But remember, that's your money to use for your business anyways. I'll also say you may want to consider some smaller banks or credit unions because they will often have lower fees or better interest rates compared to larger national banks. Another thing is these smaller banks usually have lots of money to lend to local businesses. I have seen businesses be offered credit cards and other lines of credit right away on the spot when opening business checking accounts with some of these smaller banks. So that's something really to consider. And I'll try and get some bank recommendations for you and put them down in the description. If you already have a bank account with one of the larger banks, you may decide to get a business bank account with them because they can link your online banking. Now, this can be convenient, but keep in mind you're going to pay for that convenience with fees, and you may not get that offer for a business credit card right away. Honestly, I've dealt with the larger banks before, and I personally prefer to use smaller local banks or credit unions for my businesses. Now, if the bank doesn't offer you an immediate line of credit when you open a business checking account, don't be too worried. There's other things you can do, and I'll go over those as well. Really, the importance of this is you now have a business checking account separate from your personal bank account where you can exclusively conduct your business payments and transactions. This is a critical step in building business credit because when you go to create trade lines with lenders, they don't want to see business transactions mixed together with your personal transactions. If you have business payments all mixed up with your personal expenses and other income, business lenders simply won't look at you. Now, I know this can feel like a lot of headache up front to get organized, but really, once you have a debit card for your business and you start separating out your personal finances, it will make your future accounting and getting lending so much easier. So let's say that you got all this done, and the bank where you decided to open a business checking account didn't offer you a line of credit right away. Right? This happens. You're not guaranteed a line of credit right when you're starting. Well, something you can do is open a secured business credit card. A secured card is where you provide an upfront deposit that acts as collateral and is equal to the extended line of credit on the credit card. You may have heard of secured personal credit cards. Well, these exist for businesses as well. Now, if you do have good personal credit and you want to provide a personal guarantee for a business credit card, then really you can get one right away without much effort at all. I would just say to try and keep a balance on the card very manageable and get a business credit card that doesn't require a personal guarantee as soon as you can after you've already built a little credit history. Once you have that newer card that doesn't require the personal guarantee, you can consider even canceling the original card that required the personal guarantee. Now, we previously talked about Dun & Bradstreet. Well, let's circle back to that. Now is the time to make an account with Dun & Bradstreet on their website. This is something that's easy to do just by going to their website, registering, and filling out your business profile. It really doesn't take that long, and it gets your whole business credit building process moving. And I want you to keep in mind, you could get a business bank account and build out this Dun & Bradstreet account in the same day. Neither one of them needs to take all that long to get done. One of the other things I recommend is to get a website built for your business. You can really get this done without it being super expensive. You can go on Upwork or other freelancer websites and hire someone to make you a basic website and business email using a branded domain name. I'm going to work on building out a video for you guys that goes over getting a website built for your business, because it is important for not only helping to attract business, but also for letting you have a branded email and look more legitimate to lenders. So you can really get your business website and branded business email done at the same time. An example of this would be NewYorkCarCleaners.com and an email being contact us at NewYorkCarCleaners.com. The website and email are essentially linked together. The other thing is to get a business phone number, and they now have services where you can get a phone number and have the calls forwarded to your personal cell phone. This way, you don't have to have a whole separate phone just for your new business. Now, probably some of the best advice I can give regarding all of this is to not get analysis paralysis. It may seem like a lot to get done, but just remember you can walk a mile just by taking baby steps. Honestly, I have a lot more for you. I'm putting together a quick guide to building business lines of credit. As of the time of me making this video, it's not done yet, but go to my website and sign up to get it. For those who sign up before it's done, I'll just be giving it away for free. I may charge for it later on, so it is something to consider. I'll also have a lot of good information in the description of the video on where to get some of the stuff done mentioned in the video. I really try to put relevant websites and resources in the description for you guys to make the process of getting lines of business credit a bit easier. Really, I want to help you guys avoid all the mistakes I made early on when I first started my businesses. I actually have a ton of videos on building businesses and business lines of credit, so feel free to check out what else I have to share. And as always, you guys have a great day.